Host, Coach Jake. Today I want to talk about lessons in conquering narratives. What the hell does that mean? What's up, Carlos Barreto, BJJ, Torres Bore, Benji, J.E. Rome, Yaz Dantag. I can't pronounce that. Ping Wing Arms, no sound. People keep telling me no sound. Can you guys hear me? Give me a number one if you can hear me in the chat. Yeah, I hope you guys are doing good. Hello from Muskogee, Oklahoma. What's up, Philip? Happy to see you. Youssef, happy to see everybody today. So you can hear me, huh? J.E. Rome gave me a number one. Why does it every time he live streams looks like he's held in a hostage in a basement? Dude, you would be the worst person to make a movie. You got to have the swinging light bulb in the basement and all that kind of stuff. No, I'm in my office, dude. I just dim the lights to try to get the focus on the conversation and not the background. So, hey, man, tune out if it bugs you. I don't know what to tell you, bro. I want to talk about lessons in conquering narratives, right? So we talk about wrestling, we talk about combat sports, we talk about business here because those are my passions, right? Scientific wrestling, I built up in the last 20 years. We've done crazy things. I'm excited for where we're going, the future, Shoot Pro Wrestling with Pat Miletich and the other guys involved. New Jersey Women's Wrestling. What's up, bro? Happy to see you, man. Happy to see you. So, but we talk about business and things that affect this industry, right? Because the main driver, in particular for scientific wrestling, has been UFC, has been mixed martial arts. It's been the main driver behind BJJ. I think that it's also the main driver between. I think we saw, what was it? Did anybody else see this statistic that Scholastic Wrestling had record enrollments? We know that this is due to MMA, okay? Also, there's a lot of crossover with WWE, particularly with what we do with scientific wrestling, even though what we do is competitive, not prescripted. But what they're doing theatrically, we do as a sport. And I don't know if that even makes any sense to all you guys. But today, I want to talk about some lessons that we can learn on the macro level, the world, and economics and business and, financial literacy and things of that nature from combat sports and including professional wrestling. I don't know if you guys, how you feel about that. It's a physical gig. You have a lot of crossover from athletes like Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler, those kinds that were in MMA to transition over because they're so similar. But anyway, I want to talk about something that might be a little controversial. I'm going to bring up some controversial names because I think it's not only controversial, but I think it's very captivating. And really, it's about how narratives. So, right? Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, that's a narrative. Conor McGregor versus the world is a narrative, right? This is how we sell. Stories sell. And I have long held, since my 2009 book, predating Jesse Ventura's claim, imprint, that politics and pro wrestling are equivalent. Politics is another form of pro wrestling insofar as you're getting a narrative. We don't know if it's true with all of these various intelligence agencies and whatnot spinning things and who knows what's actually happening and what, we just take the narrative and we buy in. Okay. So there's this very interesting perspective from somebody who's in not only, grappling and wrestling and combat sports and promoting it, and then looking at it at the macro level, especially with regards to narratives, right? So inspired by recent events, by high-profile figures, I want to talk about things that I always bring up: grit, resilience, what it means to stand and fight sometimes. And sometimes you're like, it's like the Montreal screw job. You're like, you're going into business for yourself. Like somebody maybe like Tucker Carlson or Russell Brand, right? And we see that they got hammered when they go and stand and fight on their own. So I want to talk about that, right? Because there is this power of narrative to shape public perspective, right? The perception. I had a guy that I used to work with. He's a very unethical human being, but unfortunately, sometimes that's how you find these people is you get into a partnership and then you're like, oh my God, what a disaster. I mean, how many marriages, partnerships have ended because you thought the person was one thing and then they were highly unethical or not living up to agreements and whatnot. But that person told me, oh, perception is reality. And I'm like, no, perception is perception. Reality is reality. Perception and fact sometimes are not the same thing. This is the argument that you had back in the day between like the sophists in Greece who are just about persuasion and then some people that were more concerned with the truth, right? And philosophically. So how do we vet that, right? How do we not know everything is a work, to use the professional wrestling parlance, right? How do we not know that there hasn't been dives or whatever? What's up, Owns to Chimpex? Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, bud. Happy to see you. Thank you for the comment. Islomer Gashev says, okay. I'm not sure what you're saying okay to. Sorry if I'm missing any comments. I'm a one-man band over here, just trying to say my thing. I appreciate you guys joining me. So in a world where like every single tweet, every interview headline can define you, you need to really understand the power of narrative. Like one of my favorite quotes, and I'm probably going to butcher this, is that Thomas Zaz, who I gave his last in-depth interview, huge hero of mine, talk about a guy who stood and fight. This is a guy who fought Big Pharma for years and logically won it. He was a PhD, a rebel psychologist, Thomas Zaz, S-Z-A-S-Z. Amazing human being, very honored to meet him. I consider him a mentor. Was blessed to talk to him and give him his last interview. He said in the jungle, the law of the jungle is eat or be eaten. And he says in the modern day, it's define or be defined. So, you see this happen so one of the guys I'm bringing up is Tucker Carlson. Another one I'm bringing up is Andrew Tate, whether you love him or hate him. Okay. How many of you guys like Andrew Tate? How many of you guys hate Andrew Tate? I'm curious about your perspective. I'm half and half. There's things I like, things I don't like, but I'm curious because he's so polarizing. But you have to look at how people are being tried in the court of public perception and smeared before there's ever a trial, before the evidence is given out, right? Like we usually protect the quote unquote victim in a trial, but we don't protect the accused, right? We protect their identity. Anybody that's making a claim, we protect them. Well, why don't we protect the people who are having these accusations? So in the case of like Vince McMahon, the guy's probably a creep. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Who cares? But we don't have anything that's factual. And what we do have as facts is that this Janelle woman, it looked like it was a consensual, gross situation that they were all taking part in, right? So, let's look at this recent buzz that's been going with Andrew Tate, right? And he's got this interview announcement with Tucker Carlson. Let me see if I can find that. Let me see if I can find that link. Here we go. Yeah, and this is a whole disaster, man. I'm gonna read this whole deal to you guys, or snippets of it, because this is so crazy, and I'd love to get you guys' take. This is from Sportskeeda today. Andrew Tate hints at U.S. involvement in alleged European Union witch hunt of Tucker Carlson. You guys know him. He's kind of the guy who's been interviewing all the dissident people. Andrew Tate hints that there's U.S. involvement in alleged EU witch hunt of Tucker Carlson following Vladimir Putin interview announcement. Okay, and then he got a picture of Andrew Tate, Tucker Carlson, and Vivek Ramaswamy, who's another guy who's out there swinging for the fences. He was a Republican presidential candidate who backed out as soon as Trump. I mean, he's like a huge Trump supporter. Made $1 billion. He's almost a billionaire. Made it in pharmaceuticals, but he seems to be calling it like he sees it. Now, this is from Sportskeeda. Okay, I don't know if this is going to get me. The censors are not going to like this. I'm just reading a news article from Sportskeeda today. Andrew Tate reacted to the possibility that the U.S. government would assist the EU in an investigation into Tucker Carlson. So do you know what's happened is, like, I guess Tucker Carlson's getting an interview set up with Putin. I don't know. Maybe you guys can educate me if I'm getting this wrong. But he's got some sort of interview set up with this guy. And because of that, because, Putin's persona non grata in the West, and they got to create a boogeyman, I guess. I don't know. And Tucker Carlson actually wants to have a sit down with this guy that he's being restricted from flights. Like he's being banned. Tucker Carlson, as a journalist doing free speech, cannot fly in the EU now. And then Andrew Tate is saying that somehow the U.S. government's involved. How Andrew Tate knows this? Now, what's so weird is every single one of these guys comes from intelligence agencies' families. I believe Tucker Carlson's dad worked for maybe the CIA. I don't know. Andrew Tate's dad, I think, worked for the CIA. And Putin was KGB before he became the Lord of Russia or whatever he is. So who knows what's true? Who knows what's true? Is this lost on you guys? How these narratives and how they're similar to Roman Reigns versus The Rock, whether it's Trump, another WWE Hall of Famer, Trump versus Biden, or Biden's doppelganger, whoever the hell is running the country these days. Is this all just falling on deaf ears? I can't tell. I don't know if you guys are resonating with me, but I guess in April 2023, right, Fox canceled Tucker Carlson. And we know that all these like old establishment channels like CNN and Fox, they're dying in the ratings. Nobody's watching TV anymore. So Tucker said, screw it. And he's gone to X, right, formerly known as Twitter, and is making all kinds of huge impact there in terms of views, more views there than he's ever had before. So I'm curious, right? Like, this is Andrew Tate and Vivek Ramaswamy were having a conversation on Twitter. And then again, Twitter, what is even true on Twitter? They're claiming that it's a free speech platform, and maybe it is. I don't even know. Like, I'm just radically agnostic about some of these things and wondering about your guys' perspective. But like, I look at this, and Elon Musk was in the youth training program for the World Economic Forum. So is even he like a reliable, trustworthy guy? I don't know. All we can do is the best we can do. But on Twitter, there was a conversation, and Andrew Tate was responding to this Vivek Ramaswamy guy. And it's one thing to say all the right things, to have people like you and stuff. Like, what do they say? They say, like, Republicans campaign like libertarians and then rule like Democrats. Have you ever heard that before? So Andrew Tate, responding to Ramaswamy on Twitter, on X, says, quote, "The European Union is considering sanctions against Tucker Carlson for interviewing Putin." But think about it. There's no way the EU would ever do that to a prominent U.S. figure without implicit blessing from their counterparts in the U.S. government. Okay, listen, I don't want to get into all this like weird conspiracy stuff, and I don't want to rub it off on me because I've been there, done that. It's gross. But what I want you guys to understand is, how does this play out for us, the plebes, the people that are just, you have no control over it. You're not going to influence Tucker. You're not going to influence Tate. You're not going to influence Putin. Neither am I. This broadcast, nobody's watching it. Doesn't matter. Okay. But for those of you that want to learn from these lessons, what can be learned here? Right? One is, like I already talked about, the power of narrative. Who's going to win the storytelling battle here? And who is it that's actually behind all this? Like, we don't know, but it's fascinating. So how can you play that into your life, right? So just as in like WWE or even UFC, controlling the narrative can really mean the difference between a hero or a villain. And in business or life, how we frame our own story can define our path. Are you a hero in your story, or are you a villain? Or are you, even worse, what my kids would call an NPC, right? Like the little character in Grand Theft Auto that gets run over, like not even the main character, whether good or bad. Okay. The other lesson I think here that could be taken on a personal level from all these crazy players on the world stage is this idea of resilience in the face of adversity. So, I mean, let's just say that this isn't a work and that none of this is fabricated. And these are real issues that these guys are dealing with. And it's not just some manipulative ploy by the powers that be. Adversity, like what, say, a Tucker Carlson's facing, or what, say, an Andrew Tate faced, where he was thrown into prison without any kind of trial. I mean, how crazy, right? Al Rabbanith D. Matthew, I'm sorry, I'm messing up your name. God forbid being called an NPC. I don't want to be an NPC. Maybe you do. And there's nothing wrong with that. Go for it, man. If you identify as an NPC, go to town, bro. Adversity isn't just a roadblock, though, right, for these guys. I mean, look at somebody like, assuming that everything was on the up and up with Andrew Tate and his lack of trial and his imprisonment. He used it to come out stronger. He didn't use it to be a victim or anything. He came out stronger, right? So it's a forge for character a lot of times, adversity. Tate's situation, much like people on the ground, right? Like in entrepreneurship or having to, you're going to face a beast. I'm looking at your comment here. Sorry, I missed it. No Tanop says, I'm on my way to a match right now. Right there, dude. Actually putting himself in adversity, putting himself in the forge. Way to go, bro. I hope you're prepared. Hope you're healthy. Hope you got your mind right. Go in and win, dude. Have a blast. That's what it's about, right? So resilience in the face of adversity. Entrepreneurship, politics, fighting. And maybe it's not fighting for what's right. Maybe it's just fighting for money, put food on the table for your family. It's a test about resilience. And a lot of times you're going to test yourself, you're going to fail. That's why a test is a test, to see how prepared you are. It's not to judge you. It's to see, where am I? Where do I stand? Go into a wrestling match, great test, dude. That'll tell you if you're actually ready or not. Believe me, dude, when you got another guy trying to take your head off and kill you under controlled circumstances, consensually, that's a great test, okay? It's a great test to see if you're ready. But remember, it's not even if it doesn't work out, don't worry about the failure, because in a narrative, the comeback is where the money is at, right? So how many of these stories do we get, like a Cody Rhodes, for example, the narrative that's being built in WWE about this guy coming back from obscurity? He left the company because he wasn't being treated right, went and did all these amazing things with NWA, right? And then did it in AEW, and now is back, the triumphant hero. And then The Rock come in and ruins it. But that's going to be for a later program on SummerSlam or whatever. You see how these narratives play out? And this happens in boxing, in combat sports as well, MMA. It's these narratives, right? So it's that, right? We all, Nietzsche is one of my favorite all-time philosophers, Friedrich Nietzsche, the German wild man. Say that, his quote is, that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? In the case of wrestling, that what doesn't pin you makes you a champ, right? So there is this benefit for all these narratives of us, right? Understanding like the power of narrative. This is what marketing and sales is. Think about it. You see on the news, one of these big pharma ads, 70% of ads, something like that, some crazy statistic, Google it, are pharmaceutical, dude. It tells you who's actually controlling the narrative. News ain't going to bite the hand that feeds them. So the only story you see on mainstream news, establishment news, are these commercials where people are dancing and having a party and talking about Ozempic or whatever. Now, by law, they have to whisper with all the people at the birthday party and going to the amusement park and all this wonderful story narrative that they were laying on top of the side effects may cause bleeding from your eyes, your asshole will sew shut, and you will bloat to death. I mean, whatever it is, right? It's awful. But my point that I'm trying to make here is that the power narrative, but beyond the power narrative for our own use, it also is important for us to recognize the necessity of skepticism, like the role of authority and the duty that we have to be skeptics on these narratives as well, right? Like I was doing a great job of it with this whole Tucker Carlson, Andrew Tate, Putin. All of them come from intelligence agencies. Are they actually outside? Is it a fake? I don't know. Who knows? But you should be skeptical of all of these things. Right? Controversy isn't necessarily real. Sometimes it's engineered and contrived. And in pro wrestling, we know that's the fact. Controversy. What was Eric Bischoff's title of his book? Controversy creates cash or something like that. Anyway, as we've seen in recent events, questioning authority can lead to a serious backlash. Maybe that's the narrative that they're trying to push. Maybe that's the narrative. How do you even know Andrew Tate was actually in jail? I mean, I'm just being skeptical, but we don't want to like lose our minds, but we don't want to also like lose our minds and just follow something mindlessly. So even deeper on the narrative, how do you build a personal brand amidst controversy? So look at somebody like Johnny Depp. We had all these guys go down in flames with the Me Too movement. Maybe Harvey Weinstein, or Clinton, or Epstein. All those guys, maybe rightfully so, but maybe somebody like Johnny Depp, maybe it's not. And so he got caught up in that. But I think, even though he had significant losses in terms of like lost that franchise, the one where he's the pirate, he lost all that money. But maybe his brand is stronger for it because he was able to build his brand through this adversity. I see Russell Brand doing that as well. Okay, so you've got to, as Thomas Law says, define or be defined. That's the law of the human jungle, the jungle of meaning, the jungle of narratives. So don't let anybody define you, ever. Refuse it. This is where I have a problem with this trend of identity politics and painting people into a box. Oh, if you can check it off on a government form about a box, I'm automatically out. I don't identify as white. I don't identify as Hispanic. I mean, yeah, I'm biologically a man, but is it like how I define myself? I mean, I define myself by my own standards and mostly about what I think is honest and valuable and true. I mean, I don't know. These other arbitrary measures of somebody else defining me allows them to manipulate me, right? This is my problem also with a lot of these labels that are given to people that don't have any biological basis. Fair? Okay, so this is a deep, deep subject. There's an intersection here, as I see it, maybe I'm just the lone one, of these parallels between business, sports, world events. I think there's places for us all to make ourselves better, right? I think there's places where we can all improve our lives and take from these narratives and become stronger through maybe being skeptical of the narratives, maybe figuring out how to use the narratives for ourselves and right, this define or be defined idea. Anyway, as we wrap up today, I just really want you guys to remember that whether it's made up of pixels or pretexted nonsense or setups, it is a crucible every moment of our life where we test ourselves to ourselves. And failure is not bad. Failure means you're being tested. Okay. What you need to do is you need to learn from the test and get to where you're passing. So I really appreciate you guys joining me today. Number One Podcast. If you guys have any questions, any comments, any ideas, hit me up in the chat. Otherwise, I'm in a jet. I have so much stuff I'm doing. Got Shoot Pro Wrestling. You guys, the website looks great. Just send it over to Pat Militich. He loved it. Send it over to Jerry Briscoe. I don't know if these names make any meaning to you. Everybody's loving it. We're working on capital partners, working on broadcast partners, working on distribution partners. Alraba Di Matthew, and I am sorry if I'm messing up your name. I'm just going to call you Matthew. Do you think I could pin Ben Askren? I mean, is he awake? Has he been has he been coconuted on the head or not? I don't know, and I don't know if you're any good. So that's like a strange question. But Ben Askren is a freaking stud. I would probably, given that I don't know you and I know his accomplishments, I might bet on Ben Askren. But maybe you'll convince me. Maybe you're the best pinner in the world, and I just don't know. So again, you don't know what you don't know. Owns D Chimpex 84836. Friend, what are you, wrestler? I don't know what that means. I don't know how to answer that question. By the way, I've really been watching Curb Your Enthusiasm. Holy God, that is just genius comedy writing. I love it, dude. Larry David, man, that show gets me every time. I don't know if you guys are fans. Black Op trainee, come back to Southern Cali and teach catch again, Jake. Coming, dude, coming back. So I'm going to be close. I'll be in Phoenix, I think the first weekend, that first Saturday of March. Very close, dude. Southwest, man, cheap flight. Come on out. That's what I'm doing. I'm flying from Denver. Going to be down at Black Flag Submission Company, the number one scientific wrestling affiliate for 2023, led by the inestimable scientific wrestling elite coach Gil Olivas. I don't know. How do you say it? Olivas. I want to say it, maybe. I don't want to butcher it, though. But Gil's like a freaking stud. Amazing human. Incredible culture. Nancy, Terrell, all those guys, dude. Scotty. Like, you got to get down there. We're going to be working on Nelson's, which for me is arguably the most dangerous hold in the history of all grappling. I can't believe I was the first guy. I mean, I do a lot of first things. Number one, right? Over and over and over again. I cannot believe I was the first guy to actually do a comprehensive analysis and presentation of the Nelson family holds for grappling. It's been done in wrestling, but not specifically for grappling with submissions. Let's see here. Matthew, what's the best place in America to learn catch wrestling with high-level training partners? Scientific wrestling training camps. That would be the number one place. You get access to all varieties and derivatives of catch as catch can. We bring you the world's greatest pinner, America's greatest pinner, Wade Chalice. We bring it, right? Like, okay. In folk style, Scholastic. Pat Miletich, All-American wrestler, MMA champion. King Mo, USA Senior Nationals freestyle champ, Big 12 champ, real pro wrestling champ, MMA, Risen, Bellator champ, Josh Barnett's in there. Dude, like we got the crew. And we try to come to you or make it to where you can come to us. We do try to book in the Sun Belt, so they're nice place for you to come and visit. Love to see you. Go to coachingcatch.com. That's the accelerator registration page. Own Steve Chimpex. I see your champion belt in the background. I'm seeing your, oh yeah, the number one belt. Yeah, right there. That is a belt that is awarded every single year to the number one affiliate for scientific wrestling. Last year, as I mentioned, so Gil Olivas got the very first inaugural belt for being the best, meaning for the way we do this in criteria, obviously it's a business award, but because it's the wrestling business, we also do that. Now, we have competitions. Shoot Pro Wrestling, we've crowned tag team champions, single champions, middleweight champions. So we have all those. Then we also, I'm 50 years old, dude. So, it's not about me. It's about creating 20-year-old, 30-year-old champions, guys that are just huge studs, right? Let's see. Any other questions, guys? 719, Josh, 4-time NCAA wrestling state champion. I don't know what that refers to, if you're talking about yourself or somebody else. Yeah, anyway, listen, guys. Shoot Pro is blowing up. Super excited about the prospects there. Then we also have the Coaching Catch, the Accelerators, Scientific Wrestling Accelerators, the Science of Violence Tour, man. We're banging it up. Nate Hinkson, what's up, dude? Coach Jake, you're the man. Thanks, bro. Happy to see you. Hope to see you at a camp. Love to see you get out and get on the mats with us. This is going to be a great year. So not only is Militich and Law involved with Shoot Pro Wrestling and helping me push that, but they're also going to be coaching this year with us, which is amazing. And of course, it'll be all the elite coaches: Sam Crescent, Jesse Merez, Luis Ojeda, myself, also Wade Chalice. So it's just, dude, it's such a great time, and we've really got a nice community, a lot of like-minded individuals that really want to see this happen. Love to get you guys out there. So we got Shoot Pro, we got Coach and Catch, and then the affiliate program, man, best deal going. You get tuition for 2 all the way to full coach to every accelerator camp. You get a license to run King and Catch tournaments, which there's an upcoming, if you guys are looking for the first rule set, the one that everybody still rips off, coming to Imperial Beach, Southern California, right on the border of Mexico and California. Best weather on the planet, San Diego. Get out there, okay? Matthew, what's the highest level you wrestled at? Not very high, buddy. I'm a business guy. I had cancer in high school. I was wrestling, and I went to a high school here that was very, very good. It's called Pomona High School. In Colorado. It's, if not the best, one of the best wrestling high schools. I got cancer when I was 15. Took me out of pocket. Messed me up. But I started in Pee-wees all the way up until I got cancer. Took me out for about 2 years. Saw UFC 2 in person in Denver. Was at the YMCA judo program under Burton Bush, U.S. Senior Nationals champion Burton Bush. Saw UFC 2, was like, dude, I need to do this. Chased my dream. So, yeah, I don't know. I've wrestled a lot of world champs, and I'm more of a gym wrestler, but I have a passion for this for 20 years, and I would consider myself a sports pioneer, not only creating reviving Catch as Catch Can and inspiring a lot of other people to do the same thing, but I also invented the mace bell, which is based off of the Hindu gada or the Persian meal-ish, but brought it to the modern age, and I am single-handedly responsible. Had I been hit by a bus, people wouldn't be swinging it. Brought back the first catch wrestling competitions. I don't know what you need, man. I mean, obviously you're trying to brag or something. I don't know, or complain. Whether you're bragging or complaining, go to town, man. Have a great day. Nate, what's the golden era of catch wrestling? What era of catch wrestling are we in? So the golden era would be Tom Jenkins, George Hackenschmidt, Frank Gotch. That was the pinnacle where we had the biggest eyes on competitive professional wrestling. Doesn't mean there weren't works at that time, but these guys were studs on par with what you'd see in the UFC today. Okay. But doing it under WWE rules. That's what I'm trying to bring back. What we're in today, I just call it the modern era. The modern era, to me, started with scientific wrestling because there was a lot of people trying to market it, and I'm not going to name names, but they were just trying to get rich. This has not been a moneymaker for me. I make my money elsewhere as a business coach and entrepreneur with other companies. That's how I put food on the table for my family. This is a passion play that I've been doing for 25 years. The company is 20 years old, 21 years old, 2003. I really do consider that the modern era started in 2003 because that's when I actually, instead of try to make myself the guru or some bullshit, which a lot of people were doing, they were treating it like a martial arts mindset, said, let's go back and recreate the sport and make it relevant and bigger for today, given the fact that the UFC and WWE are so big. So my efforts were really a prelude even to this TKO merger where the chocolate and the peanut butter came together for Reese's. I've been working on the Reese's thing for a long time. So 2005 and 6, we started having, again, real training with real catch as catch can guys like Dick Cardinal, 2005. Then we had Fujiwara, 2006. We had Billy Robinson, 2007. Started giving people access to the information. 2007, started holding the first tournaments. So really, I mean, if you were to put a stake in it, Some people are going to be pissed off because I'm correlating it with my efforts, but I'm also trying to be objective. Nobody was doing fuck all, pardon my language, before that. What about the late 80s and 90s? What era is that? Shoot style. Because it wasn't shoot and it wasn't catch. It was these efforts by people in the UWF, UWFI, and even early Pancrase to make the fights in pro wrestling seem real. This is pre-UFC. Yeah, I don't know. So I would call it the shoot style era because it wasn't shoot. These were, and there were double crosses, so there were shoots, but they were by far the exception and not the norm. Or they were just real mismatches where you had some clueless boxer go against like a stud who just demolished them, right? Just not to where it's a work through booking. So yeah, like I would call like those 80s and 90s like the shoot style. And then, as we come into the era of MMA, we see Pride try to do it, but it's still MMA. But they're promoting it like pro wrestling. It's in a ring. There's the pageantry. There's no weight classes. Like it's wild, right? It's more pro wrestling. But it's not pro wrestling because there's no pin. So 2003, I was like, no, we're doing this. And that was really the deal, right? And then a lot of the people that are quote unquote, they consider themselves my competition. They're not my competition. I'm so far beyond what they're doing. They consider it. I don't, though. But those people who have followed my lead and are doing their own thing, all of that is, they would all be doing something else because I've been hit by a bus. Same with the mace swinging. So again, I'm not trying to be egotistical. I'm actually trying to be as accurate as I can as the person that's kind of pushed all this stuff to happen, to give myself proper credit because there are people that know this, people that have been present. I mean, Billy Robinson, Wade Chalice, like these guys on the big level, they all know this. But it's these little petty people that pretend it wasn't that way. So I would say that, like, from let's put the tail of it in 1925, 30s, all the way up to, I'd even say the 80s, 50 years was the work era, was the theater era. Okay, of catch wrestling. It was just underground. Maybe we call it the underground era. That's where guys like Carl Gotch and Billy Robinson were like dying, but they still had to put food on the table. And the best thing was doing these work things, but they kept pushing and really tried to make it real. The culmination of their efforts led to that shoot style era. And then the shoot style era led to the MMA era, and the MMA era led to the modern scientific wrestling era. I mean, I don't know if I could call it that, but that's how I would do it. I don't know if that helps, but anyway, guys, I'm going to jump. I got a bunch of things I got to do. If you guys don't have specific questions for me, get over to coachingcatch.com. Show up. Let's get in there with Mo, with Militich, with Wade Chalice. We just had Mo and Wade and Barnett on the last season in the fall. Trying to give you guys as much exposure as I can. You guys have been able to been with Fujiwara, Dick Cardinal, Mark Schultz, Billy Robinson, all those guys, right? And I try to hook everybody up that I can. So I'm just trying to get the exposure and the real grappling literacy out there for you guys. If you guys can help us with Shoot Pro Wrestling, go check it out. I just got the website redone, put some new videos up. We got all the matches, shoot matches, singles matches, the triple shoots, which are a 3-man singles tag, like triple threat in WWE, but done competitively. It's cool. All those matches are up there. You can check that out. So again, Coaching Catch, Shoot Pro Wrestling. If you want to get involved, you want to partner with me, you want to help me, I could use the help. We're at scientificwrestler.com. Become an affiliate, become a partner of mine, and let's blow this brand up. Let's go. We've been hockey sticking this last year. Our Instagram alone has added 120,000 followers organically in 10 months. Dude, this is the hockey stick. This is the exponential. This is the critical mass that after 20 years, overnight sensation or whatever. Appreciate the hell out of you guys. I'm going to jump. I'm not seeing anybody asking any questions. Nate, I appreciate you, dude. Nate says, thanks. Great explanation. I hope you guys are well. Hit me in the DMs if I can help you. Of course, I do a lot with business coaching and financial literacy. I've got a master's degree in financial mathematics, worked in investment banking, mortgage banking. I've started or been a part of several startups. Yeah, and just really helped people learn how to make more money and have success in their lives. If I can help you, I will. I appreciate the hell out of you guys, every single one of you that showed up, every single one of you that commented. And again, let's remember the power of narrative, right? Let's take these lessons from all this circus stuff, whether it's on the world stage, the WWE stage, or the combat sports stage, and let's start figuring out all the lessons that can be taken from it. Appreciate you guys, and I will talk to you